Hi, welcome to Small Business Development Center at Daytona State College. The Small Business Development Center has been in Florida since 1976. We are a network of consultants who provide consulting services to small businesses to help them grow and succeed. We not only provide consulting services in the areas of business plan, marketing, social media, cybersecurity, a business model canvas, or key performance indicators, all the tools which will help you grow and succeed, but also we provide training. And these trainings are based on the latest insights and the research that we get, which is needed for the businesses to grow and succeed. In the end, I would like to say, enjoy this version of our training program. Let us know if there are some improvement areas that we need to do it. I hope that if you need further assistance and help, please come to Small Business Development Center here at the Daytona State College, or you can go to www.sbdcdaytona.com. Thank you.
Well, good morning and welcome. I'm George Tiwari. I'm just handling this because the webinar is also there, so I have to hold this because they have to listen to this. We have been getting some feedback of late based on our interactions about, what are the tools to increase the sales. And based on the feedback, we worked with Bill and Adam from the Accelerate Energy to build up the content, how to increase the sales. So I would like to welcome Bill and Adam for this, and I think you're going to do a great job on this.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Well, we hope. We'll see. Well, still to be said, we're already bribing people for the questionnaires.
Right.
Feedback, so, yeah.
Good. That brings me to the feedback form that you have. So please ensure that you fill up the feedback form as we go, because that helps us to improve what we do. Before we go to that sales webinar and in-house workshop, I'd just like to talk about a little bit about what we do here at SBDC. So we were here since 1976. We are hosted by Daytona State College, and we are funded by SBA. Our vision is to work with a small business to help them grow and succeed. So we provide all kind of free consulting, one-to-one consulting. We provide training. We provide all the market research which is needed. We also have a CEO exchange, a group of CEOs that we interact and facilitate, and we do client recognition. The whole idea why we are here is that it's more like creating a level playing field. So large organization can have access to some of the best tools. What about the small businesses? This is what we do at the small business. We provide consulting with some of the best consultants with a lot of experience and resources to create the level playing field. With this, it brings to Bill to take over the show from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I'm actually going to give it to Adam first.
Okay. So what we'll do is that after 1 hour, we'll take like a 5-minute break as well.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out here on a Friday morning. Bill's going to talk about himself here in a second, but my name is Adam Pickett. Bill and I both founded Accelergy Consulting. And my background is I spent 5-6 years, got both my undergrad and MBA in the business sector, and then spent 5 years in a small business. Had no idea how valuable that was going to be long term for me, because I got to do the finance, the marketing, the operations, everything. You have to do everything in a small business, like many of you know. Then spent 7 years in the corporate world with Disney, so in a number of different marketing and financial capacities, and then probably about almost 4 years ago, left and started my own startup technology company, and raised over $600,000 in capital without a product. It was solely based on financials and financial forecasting, and did that for a few years. And unfortunately, it's in an induced coma at the time frame. But Bill and I's paths crossed a couple of years ago, and we really bonded and kept in touch, and realized as we started to form Accelergy is there were two areas that we found weren't being served in the marketplace. And that's really on that sales process side. So not on the sales training side. There's a lot of sales trainers out there, but really putting some of those processes into place, in addition to financial forecasting, and then merging those two together. So we really believe that all problems can be traced back to financials and sales. So what we do with Excelergy is we have a 30-day plan where we come into a business and really help them out. And that business can be either a startup that's just starting out. It can be a business that's, experiencing growth but doesn't know how to handle it. They can have plateaued and don't know how to kind of push through everything. So we really come in and try to put that company on a different trajectory in terms of what they're doing. So that's really the overview of what we do. Bill's on the sales side. I'm more on the financial side. So he's going to talk about himself and then lead most of that conversation. But we're extremely excited to be here and, ask questions, poke ahead, or probe as we kind of go forward.
All right. I am actually going to put this in so that I don't have to hold it.
So it's okay to call during.
No, I try not to, but it's on your phone, so I don't know how many people are going to be. Hi, Mom. How you doing? Welcome, everybody. My name is Bill McNeil, and I have JD behind my name, but I wanted to assure everybody that even though I'm still licensed as an attorney in Michigan, I've been 19 years as an attorney, I'm currently in a 12-step recovery program from being a lawyer, so bear with me. I'm on step 11 where I make amends to everybody, so anybody who's had a bad experience with a lawyer, I'm sorry. I do not practice. We're not going to take war stories right now, but I wanted to make that known ahead of time. But really, if you look at it, if I really wanted to talk about my career, even as I started as a young attorney, my dad was an attorney for 40 years, but he's an armchair lawyer, estate planning. My whole career has been in sales. So I started, two of my buddies and I started a law firm. I was really in charge of bringing those corporate clients in. We built that practice up to 40 lawyers, 3 different locations. I left there as a partner, started my own firm, built that up with 15 different websites. So I became kind of an entrepreneur in terms of the website world. I was able to get so many leads from that, and I was closing all of my clients completely over the phone, and I was actually moved to Florida. So I was acting as a virtual attorney. So I built that up to a point where I was actually able to exit from that and sell that to an attorney. That spun out a startup company where I was selling to lawyers. It was a software as a service. Became CEO of that company, and that's where I went through Starter Studio. I went through a second stage accelerator, met Adam in the accelerator, and we really bonded. I took a break from that and helped a friend out of mine who was the CEO of Clean the World. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. International nonprofit. I became their national sales manager, had a 6-month contract with them, closed almost $1 million worth of contracts in just 6 months. So that ended in December, and then we've been doing Excelergy ever since. And the one thing that I've learned throughout all of my sales career, and this is where I kind of hit the lead here too early, but you have Tom Brady and Giselle. And what I like to say, and I'm a youth football coach, so bear with me, I referenced some quarterbacking and some other football references. That's why it's called blocking and tackling your way to increase sales. But what I have found throughout my career is that everybody, whether you're the CEO or a salesperson or otherwise, everybody wants to be the quarterback. They want to be pretty. They want to have they want to be the person who's out there and look at me. I'm the CEO and I'm the greatest, and just send me business or send me referrals. The problem is when you really bury it, nobody wants to put their hands in the dirt. And if you're not familiar with football, these guys, I call them the big uglies. Okay, all these guys with their hands physically in the dirt, the tattoos, they're running in the NFL about 350 pounds and 6'8", some of these guys. That's the average offensive line. Their whole entire job is to make sure that his face stays pretty. So they protect him, and some of these guys, especially the person on the other side, can be paid as much as a quarterback. They're some of the most highly paid people in the NFL. And what their job is on an every play basis, hand in the dirt, blocking, tackling, doing everything that they can to make sure that he is protected. So what do I mean by that? The reason why I say that nobody wants to put their hand in the dirt is if we all really reflect, and even myself as a professional salesperson, these statistics are shocking. 48% of salespeople will get a prospect and then never follow up with them. You're probably thinking, well, that's crazy. But if you really dig down deep, you take a business card from a networking event, you get a prospect that somebody has referred you, and Shiny object, squirrel. You get diverted and you never follow up with that person. Even worse is that only 25% of salespeople will make a second contact and then stop. So how many of us have experienced that, where we send the second email, hey, I'm just following up with you to see if you got my email, and then you don't hear anything from them. They're in the friend zone and you never hear. Well, it gets even worse. Only 12% of salespeople will go to 3 contacts and stop. So you send another email, or you make a phone call, or you leave a voicemail. Hey, Bob, just want to make sure that you got all that package that I sent you, that proposal that I sent you way too early. And we'll talk about that later. And here's why this matters. The statistics that are out there, and this bears out in my entire 19-year career in sales, is that 80% of sales happen after the 5th or more contact. I actually have my own, it's 7 plus or minus 2. So I always try to hit 7. I'll even go above 7 sometimes. So I'll go to 9 if it's necessary to close a sale. And so when I superimpose back what we just talked about, and he's the math guy, so he did all the math, not me. Okay, I didn't do any of this. But 15% reach 4 touches. That's an extremely low number, even in professional salespeople ranks. So I've been with some of the top salespeople in the world, and they stop after 2 or 3 contacts, and they just move on to the next person. So 85% never reach the point where 90% of sales occur. So if you think about that, if you were even to make a couple more contacts, and you do it in the right way with the right process, the amazing results that you can have, and you can be one of those top 5% salespeople, top 10% in your organization or as a CEO or leader of your small business. And again, I want to go back to this. And again, if any of you have, I'm very interactive. So if you have questions, or if you want to stop me along the way and say, you're crazy, or I wanted some clarification on that, please do that. This is not me just going through my slides. If you want to be interactive, that's fine. And the other thing too is, just from having experience of seeing a lot of people, if anybody wants these slides, I'm happy to give them to you in a PDF. So all you have to do afterwards is just grab our card, email me, and I'll send you the slides if you want them. So you don't have to take pictures, and because I do that too. We were out in Silicon Valley for a client, and the head of Apple was talking. I'm trying to picture all, because I couldn't ask him for the slides. Right? Like, yes. Well, perfect. Okay. Oh, you are? Okay. Audio and video. Fantastic. Okay. But I need to drop a few pounds in this video, but I'm working on. One of our clients is a weight loss doctor, so I'm now the client of her too. Yeah.
Okay, so say you have made in contact with work at classes. I'm not about me.
No, that's fine.
Let's just say there's a process in which to do this.
Correct.
So, okay, say you've messed up that process that you're going to take us through. Is there a way to correct that and continue on with the contact?
Yes. Well, it depends. So the reason I say depends is I have to be honest with some of my clients that if you mess up the process enough along the way, you've probably degraded that trust enough that you might not get them back, right? It's like anything. Trust is, that's the old term, trust is a bank account, right? You got to make a lot of deposits in the sales process. If you just withdraw them all out like a bank robber and you spill your candy out, I hate that term, but you ask for marriage on the first date or you throw up all of yourself, right? Then you may have already lost some of that trust. But we'll show you some of that process to go along so that you don't do that. Okay, we've got some good slides on that.
The other thing, too, is depending on, obviously, the higher the price point of your product, the more touches you're going to have, just intuitively with things. And the other piece, too, is let's say someone says no to you right away. What we always do is we put them in our icebox, and we'll talk about that more later. But how do you stay in contact with them? We've gotten clients, after they've said no, that we've started staying in contact. We sent a blog post, too, that's relevant to them that now become a client because we continue to build that trust, even though they said no.
And what I didn't put in here, I didn't put in the slides, but for everybody who's on, is we call that trust stacking. Okay, I didn't make that up. We got it from somebody else. The best people are stealers, right? You got to steal from the best other people because that's how we learn. That's how we get better. So trust stacking is what we teach to build up that trust along the way. So the playbook, again, referencing back to football, okay? Most organizations have zero playbook for their process. And this was shocking to us when we started our business because as we thought, well, is this going to work? Is this consulting firm going to work? And what was shocking is that all of these people that we meet have zero process. Even some who have up to $4 million in revenue have zero process. It's either up here or the CEO knows everything and knows everybody and they're getting referrals, or they have 2 or 3 big clients and they become reliant upon that client, okay? And they don't have any process or any pipeline to build. But the ones that do are 33% more likely to be high performers. And even more shocking is the win rate, right? Like we all want to know what's our win rate. And because I have Adam on the financial and the tracking side, we know down to the percentage what our win rate is when we put a potential client through our process. So we know the exact percentage. So we can exactly determine what's the lifetime value of a client. How many leads do we need to put in? And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in terms of what is your sales math equation. But that's a shocking 50% higher for somebody who has a playbook. That's a lot. So here's the thing about goals and systems, right? Like we all have these gurus and Tony and everybody says, hey, write your goals down. And we do it January 1st. And we all write them down. And then we go about 2 weeks and we try to lose weight. And then we just start eating Snickers bars again, right? So what I like to talk about is the difference between goals and systems because I've used both. I've used goals. I put the whole circle and hit all that, right? Never worked. So a lot of failures. I'm not up here to say that I'm the greatest business owner either because we've had our own failures, and that's what we kind of bring to the table as well, is be willing to talk about your failures and what you can do better. So here's a coach, right? I'm a youth football coach, and your goal is to always win a championship. I don't care what sport you're in. You want to win. But guess what? Your system is what you do at practice every single day. And even for my youth football coach organization in Orlando, where these are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, we are already in off-season conditioning, and the season doesn't even begin with practice until August 1st. And we are going 3 days a week. Hammered. We already have recruiters. We have former NFL players on our staff. So it's what you do every single day, and each coach has their practice system that they have to run through all the way down the organization. Same if you're a runner and you want to run a marathon. Like, I believe it or not, everybody's going to laugh, but I have done some half marathons. I used to train for triathlons, even though I'm a bigger guy, and I couldn't just say, well, guess what? I'm going to do a half triathlon tomorrow. I'd die. I would be dead. So you have to build that schedule every month. So I would back it in, look at the schedule, and you'd have to train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Here's what you do. Saturday's your long run, right? No different with your business. It's the same thing. If you want to build that $1 million business, you have to have a sales and marketing process. Because imagine how much easier that is. A lot of our clients, it's shocking to see the relief because a lot of the questions they ask us every week when we check in is, well, what do I do with this? Well, you put them into 15-minute intro. Well, what would I do? Put them into 15-minute intro. And we'll show you that here in a little bit. But when you have that process to rely upon and you do it every single time, believe it or not, sales actually become easy. Yep.
One of the other things
I got to walk over to him. Sorry.
So going back to like the football reference, whenever you talk to athletes when they're preparing for that Super Bowl or the World Series or the NBA championship, they're always nervous beforehand. But once the game starts, they're relying on their process. They're relying on their practice that they put in place to play that game, and then they're not nervous once the actual process starts. So think about with your business, like you're coming up on the end of the month or coming up on a quarter, you're looking at your things throughout the year. If you've got that process in place, just start relying on that process. And we'll get to the sales math equation, but that's what he and I do even in our business. Okay, let's go back to our process. If we trust our process, we know the results are going to take care of themselves.
And because of that, we've hit our goals every single month or exceeded them because we also have that forecast. And we're not talking about financial forecasting much today, but that was a huge deal for me as a salesperson to have that forecasting, that I know where I'm going to hit every month. So let me talk real briefly about what task force is. So with Clean the World, had a real eye-opening experience. I'm traveling all over the country, doing events for the hospitality industry and talking with large managers and sales managers of hotels or management companies. And we'd be having a drink, and I'd say, hey, what do you do? And he goes, well, I'm task force for Marriott, or I'm task force for Hilton. And finally, enough people told me they were task force. I said, listen, dude, man, you got to tell me, what the heck is task force? He goes, check this out. He goes, in the hospitality industry, their systems are so tight and so good that I can go in, and if the sales manager for Marriott takes a maternity leave or goes to a Hilton or goes to a Best Western, cool. I come in as task force. I know their systems. I start dialing from their system, and they never see a blip in sales at all. And I said, well, that's brilliant. No wonder you guys are making so much money and building more and more and more hotels, right? So the light bulb really came on. Why can't we do that for small to medium-sized businesses? So, again, stole from another, you don't have to be the best. You can steal best practices from other industries. What that does, if you really build that task force, and we're going to talk about the system and the processes, but if you build it, you eliminate the risk because now you just funnel them through your system. You might have to do some things in hiring and figure out their personalities, but anybody from the CEO down to the janitor can sell. And that's another presentation we give is remember, everybody in the organization is in sales, whether you think it or not, right? It's a sales culture. And everybody from your customer service on down has to be a member of that sales process. And the biggest thing is if you're not wasting time just shotgunning it and you have your system down and you're going through your process, you can actually spend more time selling. So if you use the CRM properly, as we're going to talk about, and you build things that work for you as a hack, okay, a sales hack, a shortcut, okay, for people who aren't in the computer world, that's the way that you start to become efficient, and you can actually then spend more time actually selling. So here's your toolkit, okay? Now, these are going through fast, and we're going to talk about some of these because we don't have time to go through all of them, but you can see at the top is your CRM, and we're going to go through the history. Your email manager is key. I always try to tie it into my CRM. One-sheeters and pitch deck, okay? We teach a system, have a one-sheeter. And believe it or not, if you've tried to do a one-sheeter for your business, it's a lot more difficult than you think, right? Because you want to throw up all over yourself. You want to put everything, you want to have a 10-sheeter of everything that you do. Much more difficult to bring it down to one. Your pitch deck. When I started Clean the World, the pitch deck was 30 slides with just like little 12-point font. Just everywhere, because the CEO just loved all that stuff. Had to put everything in there. I said, nope, not doing it. I'm selling to large management companies with 70 hotels. These are senior VPs of operation. They are not going to look at that. And I blew the whole thing up and put it down to 10 with big 20-point font. He thought I was nuts. Then when I started closing the large $400,000 deals, he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. You can do that. So go for it. Testimonials is something that I'm not going to talk about much today, but it's a huge part of sales. Okay, you have to get over that trust barrier and having somebody else who's been in your shoes. I was hesitant to sign up with Excelergy Consulting, but here's what they were able to do in 30 days with my business, right? How far would that go? If you had somebody saying, this is what they did for me, it's going to go a long ways towards you wanting to then retain that person or buy that product. And here's one quick tip that's not on here for testimonials is how many times have you had somebody who loved your service, they loved your court report. I'm sorry to pick on you, but I just talked to you. You got here early, so I know what you do. And they love, you're the greatest court report on the planet. You got them their transcripts. You did it by CD and DVD or electronic, and boom, it's done, and it's cheap. And you say, hey, can I get a testimony? And it's a lawyer, right? So lawyers, for them, it's like dog years, right? So one day to a lawyer is like a month. Didn't I just talk to you? Yes. No, it was a month ago. Right? And you say, hey, could you give me a testimonial? And they never do it because they're busy, supposedly busy, right? Everybody's busy, okay? You have to write it for them, okay? So that's how I got all this. I was going to Clean the World. They've been in business for 7 years and had 40 management companies. They had 0 testimonials. I said, this is ridiculous. So, well, nobody's ever done it. Well, I'm going to do it. So I just started dialing all the top CEOs of the management company and said, hey, why aren't you writing us a testimonial? Well, I'll do one. I said, no, I'm going to write it for you and send it to you. So I wrote it, sent it. I go, sign this up. She goes, done, signed. Done, approved. Done, approved. That's a little hack right there for testimonies. You have to write it for them, okay? White papers. that's really to more like a magnetic marketing. Okay, you want some good white papers to show you know your chops, right? To get them to give you your email. That's more of a cold phone scripts. I'm not a huge fan of phone scripts, but if you're not good on the phone, and we'll talk some about telephone sales later, it might be good to have somewhat of a script to kind of work through it. But I'm more of a bullet point type of person. But that comes from 19 years of doing trial law too, where you have to be able to talk in front of a jury, in front of judges, in front of prosecutors. Objection list. This is something where you want to know what your common objections are, right? Like, you're way too much money. You're crazy. I mean, if you start to get 10 of those, like, you're way too much money, you might be too much money. Okay, you might want to try something else. So no different in our business. We tried and failed, but we failed quickly, right? So we tried a 90-day plan. Nobody wanted to get married to us. 90 days, you're crazy, man. We're not. And we would just be in the friend zone the whole time. So boom, change that. We're at 1 million cups, right? And we presented, and somebody said, you're like bar rescue or hotel rescue for sales. We're like, sales rescue. We're 30 days, and we tried it down to 30 days. Get in there, show them what we can do, and then maybe they'll keep you on as a trusted advisor. We're going to talk about this more later, so I'm not going to go into this. And then the big E, trade show follow-ups, okay? This is like every salesperson's dream. Oh, I'm going to a trade show. It's going to be awesome, right? Because you're in sales, right? So you know what I'm talking about. My God, it's going to be the great. I'm going to find so many leads. It's going to be awesome. And I'm paying $10,000 for this booth, but it's going to be worth every penny. And then you go there, you're excited. People are at your booth, or, one booth I went to, they actually had a huge big screen, and they had the NFL playoffs on. Well, that was the most popular booth because every guy in there was in front of it going like this, just watching the game, okay? You get all these leads, you get all these cards and everything else, and then what happens? You get home, you don't follow up. And you don't want to send an email or you send one, hey, great meeting you at the show. Cool, right? And then nothing happens. You're like, oh, I spent $10,000 and now I'm host. Or you mess up details. So, perfect example, real quick, is went to Silicon Valley with a client. It was the huge Startup Grind global conference. We had a booth because they were one of the top 50 startups. And instead of doing the typical trade show, we had mobile, tablet, laptop, everything, where we could immediately sign the person up for a free trial, right? And another trade show when I was selling lawyers, we had an iPad. It had a rotating thing to grab their information. Here, just hand out this, and they type it in. Thank you. Go to the next one. Well, now it goes into my CRM. I'm done. I know how to follow up with those people because I got my system, right? So that's one of the largest things that we've seen too is beware of the trade show trap when you're in sales. This is sort of a bonus slide. I don't typically do this one in my sales seminars, but this is the first kind of exercise that I want to do because I really think it's important. And I see this at 1 million cups. I see this at a lot of the places where I consider myself to be a power networker, okay? And you need to make yourself a power networker, okay? I don't care what business you're in. Everywhere you're at, even something like this is an opportunity to be a power networker, okay? So you need to make sure at everywhere you go that you have a stack of business cards, right? I don't care if you keep them in one of those little tins, cool things or whatever, but how many times are you at, hey, do you have a business card? No, sorry, I don't have one. Oh, I don't have one on me. Sorry. Well, that's an opportunity. Yes, business cards might be dumb and they're not, but it's still that thing where you can just, here, I got a business card. You're prepared. You're a salesperson. You're selling yourself. You're coming. Here you go, my card. Now, a couple tricks to that is, here's the thing you don't want to follow up or fall into. And this happens all the time at networking events. Hey, Adam, nice to meet you. Do you have a business card?
Oh, no, I don't. Sorry.
Okay, hey, here's my card.
Oh, thanks.
All right, see ya.
I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, I'll reach out. No, he never reaches out. Okay? That just happened. And it happens, it happens all the time to you, right? So here's the difference. Here's how I hand it. Hey, Adam, nice to meet you. But do you have a card?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Hey, I have my phone, right? So it's here somewhere.
In your back pocket.
It's in my back pocket, right? So, hey, can I get your, do you mind giving me your email address?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Adam at Excelity, yeah.
All right. How about your phone number?
618-558-21.
Oh, man, it's so good to me. I'm going to definitely follow up with you. Okay, take care. Well, now I've taken the power back. right? Now, I control my process of following up with him. I'm never going to leave it in their hands ever, okay? Same thing that I did with clients as a lawyer. I never leave it up to them. If I leave it up to my knucklehead kid who I represented and who was busted for alcohol in college, they would be convicted every single time, okay? I take the power back. I set them up for the alcohol screening. I set them up for this. I always wanted to have that control in my side, because that's how we kind of take control of lives is whatever we can control, I try to control, okay? Now, not eating. That's obvious, right? I'm working on that. But
and the other one is, hey, Bill, I'm really excited about your product. Send me an email. We'll set the meeting.
Oh, yeah, send me an email. So here's where Adam is brilliant at this, and this is where we work well together. So instead, we'd be like, hey, Adam, great to meet you. Yeah, we'll definitely hook up. Hey,
Hey, wait a second. What's your schedule look like on Thursday?
All right, yeah, let me see.
I pull my phone out and don't let him walk away unless I get a meeting.
He will not. And I would do that at 1 Million Cups all the time. Man, this is awesome. Yeah, he definitely needs us, everything else. Well, did you set up the meeting? No. So, and then they go in the friend zone forever. Whereas immediately set up a meeting. All right, here we go. So I was the judge we judged the UCF incubator, 10 people who were coming in on Tuesday night. And just from the questions asked, a couple of them they had interest in our company. Well, what I would typically have done is, hey, give me your card, I'll follow up with you. This time I used Adam's. Hey, why don't we set up the meeting? We're in Daytona. We'll meet you before at Starbucks at 8 o'clock. Good, done. We just met with them before. But we put them through that was just 15-minute intro. I'll get to that in a minute. Next one. Hey, are you available Thursday or right before 1 Million Cups? Because we'll show you 1 Million Cups, boss. Oh, yeah, man, Thursday. So we're meeting him at 8 o'clock at a Starbucks right next to 1 Million Cups. So then we walk over with them. I mean, it's all a system. 15-minute intro is key. We're going to get that in the process, okay? And if you're doing, I don't care what you're selling unless you're just completely a weird products business or, you're in relationship business, right? You want to build relationships with the people who are going to buy from you, okay? So if you're in that relationship business and you're selling to local, do a 15-minute intro and book it right there. Don't wait. And we'll talk about the importance of that later. But here is the first exercise, elevator pitch. Some people who are in like BNI or some of these networking groups are really good at their elevator pitch, right? And we're not going to pick on everybody here, but I want us to at least think about what is our elevator pitch. And what I mean by that is 15 to 20 to 30 seconds that tells me about your company, okay, in a succinct way where I know or I may raise my hand with interest. All right? Is that so?
Steve Jobs said that if you want me to talk for an hour, I can go right now. If you want me to talk for 20 minutes, I'm going to need 2 weeks. If you want me to talk for 5 minutes, I'm going to need a month, because brevity is key. So with that elevator pitch, you've got 15, 30 seconds to impress that client and to tweak their interest. How can you get the information you need to in a very short period of time? So
I'm going to take a minute, write down a quick elevator pitch, or if you know it, that's fine. But let's take a quick couple minutes. Write down your elevator pitch. I'm not going to call on people because that was like law school where they just like, Mr. McNeil, what do you think about this case?
You didn't like that because you were never prepared.
That's correct. I had the notes from the second year, so I knew already. I had a hack for that. But just write down your thing, and I'll take a couple volunteers to just give us your quick 15 to 30 seconds.
Can you also
Yes.
explain
Sure.
what constitutes
Okay.
elevator pitch so that if they are writing in the
Yes. So this is the way I bring the elevator pitch into context is you're at a 1 Million Cups, okay, or a networking event, and you come up to the person and, hey, Adam, how you doing? So what do you do? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, my God.
But he's not the sales, so I'm going to say, you know what? I do sales process and financial forecasting. So we work with small to medium-sized companies, and we help them to increase their sales in a 30-day period. Done. That's it. You're either going to be interested or you're not, right? You don't need to be. I've been in business for 20 years. I've been doing this. Just tell me what you do, be succinct, and then get them interested, and then we can move them along the sales process. So anybody want to volunteer with what their elevator pitch would be? Anyone? Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
My name's Trish. I work for Employee U. We work with people with disabilities, help them get back to work. We help with finding a job, onboarding process, and training.
Okay, good. So that's good. A couple of thoughts. So let's make it a little more conversational, right? What was your name again? Trish. Hi, I'm Bill. How you doing?
Hi, Bill.
So Trish, Employee U, that's pretty cool. What do you do? I mean,
We work with people with disabilities. We help them get back to work, and we help with the onboarding process, and then we training.
That's much better. You see the difference, right? Now you were reading, okay, which is good. Scripting is okay, but that was that difference, right? That, hey, how you doing? I work at Employee U because we're icon. It's like, I help with disabilities. So, you know, you may not know, oh, really? But Adam is actually on the board of directors for the Central Florida Down Syndrome Association. That would be a good connector for you, don't you think? All right, man, let me introduce, I'll introduce you to. Give me your card and I'll connect you guys. I'm serious, yeah, I'll connect you. I'm in sales. You're a connector, right? And some of the Down syndrome emails are going to be on our examples, okay? So this is the key. Do you see how fast that was for a connector? And this is something that most people don't forget to follow up on. He goes, you know what his response? You know what his response? Yeah, he will too. You know what his response always is? That, come on, like I'm not going to do it, because he'll ask me. So he'll go, so did you? No. And I'll ask him, did you? Of course, come on. So I'm always the one who, you know, I'm the sales guy. I'm squirrel,
But
right?
that's the problem. That's the challenge, right?
Yeah.
As salespeople, that's your nature. That's your ability. And the more of those processes and systems you can put in place, the more you're going to protect yourself from forgetting things and from making those mistakes.
Absolutely. Anybody else want to volunteer? Okay, great. Cool. I love it.
I've never had one.
Okay. See, there you go.
I made it up just now.
All right.
Okay. So you can help me rewrite.
No, I'm going to, so, hey, I'm Bill. How you doing? What's your name?
Kathy Webb.
Kathy Webb? Kathy? What do you do, Kathy? That's okay.
I'm in the business of saving lives through monitoring and surveillance. I don't know where to go with this. So,
Well, tell me, like monitoring, so you have like a monitoring and surveillance company, so like a security company? That's okay. This is what we do. That's okay. I didn't mean to put, this is exactly, this is normal, okay? This is what people are forced to you know, it's like get right to it, like what do? You got to show me the value so I may.
with answering yes to your question, is it's not for monitoring and surveilling like this building
Okay.
inside and stuff.
Okay.
It's for like consulates, embassies, even the southern border of the United States,
Excellent.
that kind of thing. So,
Then you need to leave. So, you know what? And be more confident, right? Say, like, you know, we have a really niche, okay? We specialize in something for the government. We have high-level contracts to surveil the border. So, because the reason I say that is, as a connector, you don't know what my contacts are, right? I could be friends with a senator, or we have one client who's getting a $75 million grant to offer vets coming out of service and to go back into private life, right? So I may have just met with that senator or that lobbyist, and that's a connector, right? So you always want to raise somebody's interest or get that connection.
In the other words, you use the word international.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me. You also want something sexy that's going to, pique someone's interest.
Yeah.
That's another key. Like international. Wow, you're not just local. You're international.
Or sometimes I'll say, I'll sometimes even be self-deprecating, right? Like, oh, there's a million sales trainers. They're like dime a dozen. Forget them, right? But we have a 1-2 punch. We have sales process and financial forecasting. Those two together, forget about it. See the difference? Okay? So go ahead.
All right, I'm going to have to read it too.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm Matt Bertner
Hey, Matt.
with Aero Engine Protection Corporation, and we offer the first and only piston engine service program that provides light aircraft owners like you repair and cost control solutions in the event your aircraft breaks down away from home.
Okay, so your target market is
Aircraft owners.
aircraft owners, right? So it's marketing to the affluent, right? Okay, these are affluent people who own I don't own a jet yet, right?
Not a jet, light airplane.
Or a light airplane, but I don't even own a light airplane yet, right? So
You should.
I understand, but you have to understand. So you're in sales, so it's one of those things where you're going to have to be, hey Joe, do you own an airplane? Yeah, I do. Well, you know what? We do all the stuff, all the repairs for you, so you don't have to worry about it, right? So you got to boil that down. Just get their interest. You don't need to. We do light because no offense, but as I read piston styles,
the other
right, like yeah.
Yeah.
But just get their interest, and then we'll show you how to do the 15-minute intro, right?
The other thing is yours is a little bit, and I want to use an example, is it's very product or very structural in terms of what you just said.
Yeah.
We just did this exercise with the agents.
Yeah.
They're incredible. They can take, if I give you my physical address, they can buy your house, figure out your IP address, and target you digitally.
On your Wi-Fi. On your Wi-Fi, on your devices, your kid's device, your iPad, you're seeing targeted ads through just your IP address because they saw it offline.
So we had everyone in the organization do their elevator pitch.
Yeah.
And it was all great. And they talked about the product, they talked about this. They got done, and I said, there's a key word. I know your business. There's a key word that you're missing. It's results. Like, you guys produce these incredible results for your clients. So that's another one to think about, too, is what's that benefit? Don't just talk about what you do. But what's the value? What's the benefit that you're bringing your clients that's going to pique someone's interest?
And we're still working on it for ours. So, I just had a client. We did 2 hours of calling, and we've done some follow-ups. He's probably going to get $25,000 to $50,000 worth of sales from this, and that was in just 5 hours worth of work. Okay, but that's still being shown. Like, I'm going to wait for that to come in, and as soon as he does, boy, I'm writing that testimonial. Like, they got me $50,000 in sales with 5 hours of calling. Bam! Who's not going to hire me, right? Okay. Now I'm going to put that low because I'm a lawyer. Results may vary, but it's not typical. Not typical, right? Like at the end of the commercial, might not be because you might have your baby might be ugly. Okay, right? I mean, your product might be ugly, or whatever it might be. I don't know. We have a couple of those where we try as much as we can, but it's like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. That thing's still going down. Okay. All right. Does anybody else want to volunteer? Yes, doctor.
So my name is Dr. Lisa Haynes with Family First Health Center. We're the area's first direct primary care center. So unlike traditional practices, our members get same next day appointments. They get longer one-on-one time with the doctor. They get convenient virtual visits with the healthcare while traveling. And it even includes all their basic labs that's all delivered through an innovative monthly membership rather than co-pays and that's what we're insurance.
Perfect. So I lost you after the first sentence, right? I loved you distinguished it. Okay, so I'm different than other primary care doctors because you can get same day. And then after that, it was like, that cartoon where it's, here's what Fido hears as I'm talking. Bad dog. Why don't you do Fido? And the dog hears blah, 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 Fido. Blah, blah, right? So I lost you after that. So, but what I did hear at the end was, tell me again, there was something about,
the two things that
I missed it.
Using the word innovative, which was key, but then the
monthly subscription.
And a monthly prescription. Like,
monthly subscription. I heard that.
Right there.
And as a software as a service CEO, that monthly subscription is what got me turned. Because a good friend of mine, Sanira from Fat Merchant, you guys heard of her, right? It's a merchant processing. They disrupted it by just offering a monthly subscription, and then they cut out the middleman. Well, she's raised $3 million worth of funding. She's like 33, okay? So monthly subscription. That's disruptive, right? That gets my interest. Like, really? That's cool. Maybe I want to sign up, right? So that's the difference is you can just hit them like that and then put them into the 15-minute intro. Anybody else? Then we'll move. Go ahead, sir. We'll do one more.
iHelp is a full-service personal technical support company. We specialize in smartphone, computer, software, and system support for the full spectrum of consumer electronics. We strive to build personal relationships with our clients and their technology in order to better maximize the utility of the technology they already own.
So you actually, is that your company? Okay, so if I were just talking to you, right, and what's your name?
John.
Hey, John, I'm Bill. So what do you do, man? What's up? What do you do?
do the full support on the
Do you fix phones? Do you?
fix
Right.
phones,
Okay.
computer.
So my phone is cracked. Would you be able to do the screen? Right. So I'm a full service. I'm like, you know, or you have to distinguish yourself, right? So I'm not picking, but there's the you break, I fix, right? You're in competition with them. Am I right? So you're like the Geek Squad, but you got to. So tell me that, right? Tell me I'm the Geek Squad, but you don't have to go to some big box store. Done, right? So I'm the Geek Squad, but don't go to the big box. They're gonna hose you or something. I mean, you don't want to get sued, but you know what I mean. You can come and see me afterwards. I'll defend you, but. Yeah, right.
So when you're helping consumers, right? You're not helping business.
Sorry, come over.
So one is we help people if they've got a problem with their phone, if something's wrong with it. But the other one is we help you maximize and get the most out of your consumer or your electronic product. Then you put it on. Then it's intriguing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guess what? And it becomes personal. I've got an iPad. I'm not sure how to do this. I can help you with that.
We had somebody present at 1 Million Cups that had that idea, right? And what went around the room is how many of you you're the IT folks for your parents, right? I know I am. Okay, that's a huge market of retirees. You got the villages, everything. They all need the Geek Squad, but they don't want to go to Best Buy, right? I'd rather just have you come by or meet them at the coffee shop of the villages. And, hey, you know, here's how you do your iPad. Here's how you hit cast to your. I still don't know how to do that, right? My kids are sitting there casting their YouTube videos. I'm like, how's that on my TV? I'm like, Dad, we just did it. They're 10 years old and 5. My 5-year-old is with her. I'm watching her Shopkins on my big screen. I'm like, how are you doing? Dad, come on. She's 5. Okay. So that's where I see something with yours, right? Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Yeah. And I like the standing up. This is good. All right. I love it.
That's what I do.
Good. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm Hamburger Harry of the International Hamburger Hall of Fame. I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most hamburger-related items. And then all the questions.
I
Wow.
want to go there. Whereas my grandfather used to say, now this is back, he was long, he's like, there's a lot of $10 steaks in there, son. Right? So there's a lot of hamburgers in here, man. There is. So yeah, that's great. I love it. Thank you. Nice job. I wouldn't change a thing. Because see what you did is immediately hit him, interest, but then we'll show you how to follow up with that, right? And get them to actually come to because you want them to come to your location, am I right? And pay the fee and go through the Hall of Fame.
That's a long story. I'm in the Guinness Book. Now I have this huge collection, and I don't know yet what to do with it.
Got it. We'll talk.
No, I need the next step.
Got it. Okay. So we're going to go on. How are we doing on time?
So we're at 10 till. We shouldn't keep going to work.
Yeah, let's keep going. We'll go into workflow, okay?
Oh, yeah, we'll break after workflow.
Yeah, sales workflow. So this is, when we get retained, this is the first thing that we do with a client, okay? And typically it's on, like this is actually a whiteboard as well, okay? So we'll sit with them and we will whiteboard with them what their current process is, okay? Because this is your sales bucket, okay? See how there's all holes in it, right? You're spending time, money, all your energy on building your pipeline, your process, all these people you're putting in funnel, and there's all these holes, and it's worthless. You can pour as much water as you want to. You're never going to fill up. So here's what we do. Now, this is visually represented, but we would actually physically draw. So we've had a couple clients who say, you know, first thing we're going to draw, well, we don't have a process. Done, 15 minutes. I'm like, just chill. You just don't know it, okay? And we would actually draw out, okay, where are all your leads coming from, okay? Then what?
And the other thing we do too is if we actually take a step back and we identify the key decision makers.
Yep.
So who's that key decision maker that's purchasing your product? So that's where we start, and then we go into, okay, where are you going to find those leads at?
So this was a promotional products client, and you'll see our cool Excelergy backpacks next time if we do one of these because we're getting one of those from him. He would get a lead, hey, I'm interested in 50 shirts for my golf outing. Okay, he'd follow up with an email. Hey, I know that you're interested, and then goes everywhere like a balloon with the air. We're trying to figure out what do you actually do? I don't really. Sometimes I do a discovery meeting, but sometimes I follow up that meeting with a proposal? Maybe, but sometimes I just send them an email with the product information. Sometimes if I don't hear back from them from my first email, I just kind of send them my whole catalog. And then I said, well, what? Then they purchased some. Yeah, some of them purchased. Yeah, a lot of. I mean, maybe sometimes they purchase. Well, what do you do after you purchase? Well, not really much. I don't do anything, right? These are the holes. Holes in the bucket. Holes in the bucket. Hole. Okay? So no post-sales engagement. So you're not somebody who has already said yes. You've got nothing with them to say you made a great decision. You're going to be a client for a long time, right? Because that promotional products person, client for life, man. Those tumblers that he gave, just as an example, he gave us a tumbler. I'm like, man, I want 10 of those that say Accelergy on them, right? So he needs to keep that up. No response after he emails the product. No purchase. If they didn't purchase, are you following up with them? No. Are you giving them a catalog? Are you doing any type of referral program? No, and no. So those are all the holes in his bucket. Now, the reason why I put this slide up is, if you look back here, how many touches is he having? Like maybe 1, maybe 2. That's about it. I mean, he told us sometimes he follows up that meeting with a proposal, sometimes he doesn't, right? So he's certainly not reaching that 5th or more contact. But here's our system that we built for him. So a new lead comes in. Always. Intro meeting, 15 to 20 minutes for coffee. I don't care if it's coffee, water, whatever. I don't care. Just meet with them for 15 minutes, okay? He goes, well, Bill, they really just told me they want 50 shirts. I'm like, that's great. But how do you know what else they need? They said they have a golf outing, but maybe they have another one in 6 months, or maybe they have their own business and they need something else. So,
yeah. The other thing, too, is it's not just for new prospects. It's
right.
Also for returning clients.
Yes.
Or repeat clients. Because the other thing that he did that we got him to switch was he had a client call up and he goes, yeah, they order, X amount of shirts every year. Well, instead of just refilling the order, he went and sat down and met with them. And the process, that $5,000 order turned into a $30,000 order because he got to discover other things that the client needed and he got to show them other products that might be relevant.
We've been working with him for 2 weeks, so you can guarantee I'm getting that testimonial. $5,000 turned into a $30,000 order. So intro meeting, the only thing I gave him an out on, right, is let's say you knew the person from before or whatever. I maybe will let you skip this and go to your 40 to 45-minute discovery meeting or deep dive. Maybe. But dude, call me and let's figure that out, right? Like, so now he calls me and says, hey, I want to move him to, nope, put him in 15 minutes. All right. Then he does, he's like, oh my God, it works so awesome. Because let me give you an quick example so that this can be illustrated. We do this, obviously. So we had our 15-minute coffee with this potential client this morning. They wanted to know everything we do. What's it cost? And what are you going to, like, no, we don't do that. So we're going to take the few questions, and all we did was introduce. We talked more about our kids and what they were doing and why they did it. Told them maybe a little bit about what we do, and that's it. We said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take the information you gave us, do some research on what you're doing, and then we're going to set that discovery meeting. We'll talk more about a deep dive for about 40, 45 minutes. They say, cool, that's awesome. But you know what we do? Again, just like we never leave this without setting this, we never, ever, ever leave this without setting that. How many times have you done that where you meet somebody like, oh, this is awesome, man. Well, let's definitely connect. We'll reconnect. I'll get back. No, you won't. Then they're just not that into you. They don't want to date you, okay? We want to date. We want to eventually get somebody to say yes and go out on that first date with us.
And the opposite is, so like this morning, we met with a prospect for 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. We set that meeting for next Friday. In the meantime, if they cancel that meeting, that's great.
Yep.
They self-select out. We're not wasting our time pursuing something that isn't going to be realistic for either one.
And we had that happen. We had a weenie cart. It was Mighty Weenie or something like that. So, or something like that. And just wasn't ready. You know, and we set the 45-minute, called us in between. It was really not, and now we'll put them in the icebox, right, and say, hey, you might need us as you get down the road. You have more carts. You have more of this. So we always will stay involved and put them in a monthly drip program, okay? But let me get back to this. 15-minute intro, we always set this. We had a doctor client who was a hospitalist, okay, has 6 contracts. I won't say who, but 6 contracts with large hospitals. I know nothing about a hospitalist, 0, right? So we met for coffee at Starbucks. It turned into 45 minutes. And that's great. We talked about kids and everything else. But in between there and our discovery meeting, I did all my homework on a hospitalist. So I came back and knew about RVUs and production of doctors and what are your financials and, you know, all these things. Are you doing RFPs for new hospitals? Are you looking out for CEOs of the hospital? Who would actually be the person? So I came armed with enough information that she felt comfortable here, and we had a great deep dive session, okay? Then always we would say, in here, and we'll get to asking for marriage on the first date or throwing up all of yourself. That's what most people want to do is they put they'll tell everything. And our person for the promotional products in that 15-minute, he's like, but Bill, it was 45 minutes and it was going great. I ran to my car and I got with all my stuff. And I said, gone, done. They're going to go in friend zone. You just threw up all yourself. You spilled your candy in the lobby. You asked for marriage on the first date. You haven't built that trust up with them enough that they want to buy from you. Because the whole key to all this, guys, the whole key to sales, and I told this to somebody last night, is they have to go like this, open, and pay you. That's the key. Separate them from their money and show them enough value that they'll actually pay you. So next is, we'll tell them in the discovery meeting, because they'll always ask, well, how much are you guys? We don't know. We really don't know, because every client is different. Everyone is a tailored proposal just to you. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the notes that we took from this meeting, we're going to put together a detailed proposal, and then we're going to set a proposal meeting with you. Oh, okay. But we set that there. We never leave that. That's what so many people do. Like, oh, I'll send you a proposal. And how many times have you sent a proposal and nowhere, right? It just goes into friend zone. We don't ever want to be in friend zone. Because if they won't schedule a proposal meeting with you, guess what? I hate to tell you, they're just not that into you. And they ain't going to buy from you. But if they set that, I know I've got a really serious prospect. Okay? And 2 days before, we always send the proposal. It gives them another chance to say, I'm out. Go ahead.
The other thing that we forgot to mention was at this intro meeting, which is critical.
Yeah.
We make this mistake still sometimes, which is identify who the buyers are. If the person you're with, whether your person you're with is not the buyer or there's other people that are going to have to wait on that decision, make that discovery then so that they can get involved now. We've done it a couple times where we've gotten to the proposal meeting. Someone said, oh, I need to talk to my husband. I need to talk to my wife. I need to talk to my business partner. Why did we not have that done earlier? Now we've got to delay our process.
That's when you commit Harry Carey, right? That's for a salesperson. I got to talk to my husband. Right? I'm like, dang it. I went to friend zone, right? And so I was mad, right? I was upset at myself after that meeting. Now, I was good enough. I tried to gain back control, right? So I immediately hammered, when are we going to meet with your husband? When are we going to meet with your husband? When are we going to, oh, he's busy. When are we going to meet with your husband? We really need to meet with your husband. Finally, he got a text from our prospect that said, my husband wants to talk. We literally run out of Starbucks into his car, and we both are talking to the husband on the phone, right? And that was enough that we then got the next meeting and got the contract, okay? So one thing real quick, and it's a little bit weird, and then we'll finish up here soon, neuro-linguistic programming, okay, or NLP. Tony Robbins calls it neuro-associative conditioning or NAC, whatever it is. What I like to use it for is the anchoring, right? You want to anchor people along the way. That's human behavior, okay? If I've got them saying yes, 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 guess what? They're going to say yes when I send them a proposal. So check out the anchors here. Plus, it goes back to my contacts points, right? Yes, yes, I'll do an intro with you. Yes, I'll do a discovery meeting. Yes, I'll do a proposal meeting. And yes, I'll purchase, right? And then as soon as they purchase, Immediately we set the next day or two or whatever our first deep dive session. So it's all a process. Because most people will be like, yeah, I closed the deal. And then they wait like a week or week and a half to deliver. No. Hammer now. Like, show value now. And wow them in that first hit, because guess what? Then you're going to become a trusted advisor. So even more important, follow-up call after it delivers. So do they like the product? Remember, this is our promotional client's product. Send them a questionnaire, referral offer, ongoing newsletter. So it's a cycle that he's through.
The other thing I'm going to point out here is that on that referral piece for this client, again, every client we work with is a little bit different and whatnot, but this client didn't have a referral program at all. And not only did we go and discover, you know what, there's a huge opportunity, but we did the financial piece, we did the forecasting on the referral program, and what we discovered was not only can it be a revenue driver for that referral, but it's also a no-cost revenue driver for the referee. So if he was able to add revenue and sales on both sides of it.
So every client is different, but a good example is you, Doctor, right? So you have this monthly subscription. I'm going to pick on you for a minute. I love your model of a monthly subscription. You can sign up. You have good access, right? Yours is not going to be a 15-minute intro, okay? But we have a weight loss doctor, right, where we built her system. They come in. We looked through her process. They were coming in. They weren't getting any info, and they were just walking out. Well, I got to meet with I have a meeting appointment. I sat there in the lobby, and I just watched. I was like, somebody came in. Hey, I'm interested. Wait. Oh, that's great. We do this. Well, do you want to start? Oh, well, I've got an appointment with my doctor in like 2 weeks, so I'll come back. Did they ever come back? No. So when I was selling golf clubs, which is the best job ever on the planet, we called that the Be Back book, right? So we would joke, the Be Back book.
Be back.
So as salespeople would be like, hey, what happened? He goes, oh, he's in the Be Back book. I'll be back, right? You're trying to sell him golf clubs. Oh, I'll be back. What he's doing is he's going to check out the other store to see if it's a lower price, right? So you never want somebody to be in the Be Back book. You want to take back that control, right, and make sure that's why when I was selling golf clubs, you want to, put them in something, like get them touch it, feel it, touch it. Some of you may have products, right? Like I would always, hey, you want to just try it out? Come on, let's go. Let's try it. I'll tape it up, take them out. I was also a golf pro, a teaching pro, so that was my advantage, right? Because I could get them with this club, get them out, tape it up, see this first terrible swing. I'm like, well, just do this just try this. Okay, let's sign up. There's $10 spiff on the club. $10. And as a kid in college, that was a lot of money, right? Every one of those was $10. So let's do a quick.
Why don't we
break?
And you can think about this on your break.
Yep.
What holes are in your bucket?
Yep.
Like, what can you identify that what we just talked through that you're not doing right now? It could be a simple win to help you out.
So something like this. Where are your holes that I heard somebody before, not following up, right? Think about what those holes are in your bucket. And then the next thing I want you to have you do in the break, and we'll talk about briefly, is how much is that costing you? That's a cheesy salesperson thing, right? So I'm warning you ahead of time. Cheesy salesperson alert, right? But you really have to start thinking about that. How much, if I actually did some of this stuff, how much would I actually be able to make in sales? How much do I really know deep down in here that I'm costing myself based on my product cost that I'm losing by not following up? And then when we come back, we'll talk about CRM platforms. Cool? This one was holes. Yep.
How you doing?
Good. Hey, Frank. How you doing?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
I was at a workshop last week, and someone come in with this good app, like if you went out of business cards, which I'm sure has happened, it's called Haystack.
Okay.
We wrote my elevator pitch.
Oh, nice. So what you do is you sure.
Oh, sorry, one minute. Tell me what you think.
Should we charge that in between? I think it's fine. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically take your business cards.
I help load consumers and small businesses maximize the utility of their technology where they already are. Focus on individual experience and personal relationships with our clients and their technology. Our service first letter is your name, and then you have to write down that.
Yep, talking about elevator pitch. You know what he likes to do? That's too like
The hardest thing I have with this, with my concept, is that it's so hard to put in words. Like what you said about I know.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. Go say anything. Oh, by the way, here's what I do. I do dirty post guys. No.
You want to talk an hour about the company I go to right now.
With my old company. Oh, great. Your card yesterday. Got mine today. Okay. I just with you. I got you. 269. Here it goes.
Yeah, because I realized I completely worded it wrong when you asked that question.
I would even like get the most out of it. I have it in your. I'm gonna check that out. I'm always looking for new tools.
Okay, so I'm just and I'm not a salesperson. I retired as a salesperson. I don't know anything about it. So, okay, so friend, I just want to do a lot of speaking. They're not ready.
Just getting started. I've been doing it now for but I have to
from there, somebody in Utah. Anyway, he asked me if I would take one to the process. Okay.
Because it was a tech company that's doing a real good level of trust to have a physical location. I've actually worked for you with that business. So that's big. That's why our company started off so well. Yeah, we were top 10 in the United States for a couple years because we were the first to say, before you mail us your iPhone, pay us, and then you get it back in the mail.
So,
The difference is I'm more focused on
Miami, there's an island out there.
hey, my kids are here, or after we do videos on TV. What's the deal with that?
Here's how you stop. Yeah.
Yeah, here's how you get set up. You know, it's my number. I think with everyone has 5 to 15 things going on with their technology right now today. That's a problem, or they don't think it's right, or you should be doing something that it's not, or when the guy told me this, he wants to go drive, he promised, like, do all this,
Nobody else.
now I'm here by myself with this thing not working, and nobody, you're gonna call Apple.
So, one of the things I've got, we'll add this, we'll add that.
What they do.
So,
Up until 2014, they had the 1-to-1 service over $99 you purchase a new Mac. They would show you everything. You get free appointments, over 4-hour appointments, everyone. Where you come to no more for some reason. It's gone. So, and even that, I still had that. Okay. Orlando, Jacksonville.
We had the
there's no Apple Store here.
That's
a big help for my company right now. Is what's going on with the checkbook care right now is it's going.
Air goes down.
They're too expensive. The parts are too expensive.
So I just a little follow-up. I haven't heard.
What's happening when the iPhone 8 comes out, you can't open them anymore. I just think it's more I look at it as almost creating an industry that hasn't been established well. Right now, it's whatever the customer needs. The customer is different. Reoccurring revenue.
So I'm going to give back
That's what I want. The goal is
an edible basket to the office, and there's working on that office, and a card to him.
When I work with customers like that, I'm there to work with phones, but my favorite thing to do at work is to sit down with the customer one-on-one and learn your passwords, how you bring in emails, and how you file them, and
Well, no,
have everything for everybody, but you only need 5
to
stores.
finish up this year's work, and then go into next year.
Once you tweak it even more, okay.
Time frame.
Like I was working with one of the companies.
Really? This is way out in my mind. I just don't get this. Because I need sales.
Yeah,
So I think
move it along.
Well, can
Like
you tell
those
us?
little things.
Send the bid.
There's a lot of little things, and it's like if you understand your issue well enough, you can handle it. You don't need us to jump out for you. You don't need to call anyone. You're self-sufficient.
So now I'm really assured that
You just explain the problem.
I think it's
So my Facebook account is verifying with my email server and the recovery phone number's gone. Okay,
So she's got it. Kathy,
that's
yeah. So I put the basket party.
yeah. That's why it's really, really difficult for me to verbalize shortly. My business cards right now are so basic because I'm just too. I don't want to. Anything I put on my card is going to limit
Thank you very
what
much.
I
whenever I want to know something,
I have to offer. I'm a yes.
right now. Okay, thank you. As long as I know it's that way, I don't have to love her.
Maybe I'll have
When I
another
call her, I have a 90-second. Here's that. Here's that. So.
Yeah. There may be some techniques you can do to move that along. You're in Flintstone.
I am.
They're ready to go.
Right.
That's his elevator.
So something going on. You either have to touch base or you have to someone like, hey, look for business. You're booking it up. I don't know yet. First, I would need to know more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to waste it.
I don't.
You want to somebody who's still in the
Right. So like, get through the wall. It feels like a wall. Bigger than the wall that's going to go on the border.
Well, we're going to buy one of these flags. I'm not going to be carrying a flag.
You got to be persistent. You got to have your respect for persistence.
I was not listening to you, but with my Match.com profile, I haven't been.
Sorry, I got to go back.
Well, this has been going on for, the captain had on it, had a national park spending them in the hospital. And the bid is there. They said, if you want to choose your bid, we're going to make sure that you get the job. So we were all set. They had the bid, everything was happy to go, and the guy and then he went into hospice in October. And so here we are, now to the okay, so where do we go from here? What do we do? How do I grab a hold of them so that South Harbor and South Miami and Captain Del Rosa, kind of the interim side, they haven't even selected someone to take over as chief. Oh, no, I'm just like on the cusp of starting. I don't even have to start yet. I mean, I'm working with yeah, well, it just kind of happens. Her name was a lot of contact. And so this contact said, hey, I'm right here. So it just kind of happened upon me. Not quite sure what. I don't know what to do. And then there's a couple of kids out in the top. So they developed this 50 feet underground home. And so I don't know. But so I'm taking a talk somewhere. And so we're listening to my talk. And so all of a sudden I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. I got it. I don't know what to do with it. Oh my God. And it's not, I know that now I get excited because I'm not going to talk about it. I know. Low latency, like, I listen to right now. That's real time. We can stand there with a cell phone type device. I can be in Florida and I can be looking at that get I'm looking at the southern border and I can tell you how many people are coming to I'm Mexican time. Before they get there. And I think
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity, George. You guys in the same company? Oh, cool. Cool. What do you guys do? Okay. Cool. Cool. You guys use a CRM? What do you use? Base? Okay. So some of this next part might be off, but we'll maybe there'll be a few nuggets in there, right? Yeah.
Sorry, real quick. Make sure when you jump in, take that mic.
Hand it to him. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to try to be, I know we've got 11 o'clock, so I think it's 10:20 right now, so I will try to be a little bit quicker going through the CRM. Some of you probably already using a CRM, but let me give you a little bit of brief history about even what one is, because I have been in rooms where people are like, what's a CRM? They don't even know what that means. So 1986, we're going back a ways here. So ACT was, they called it a contact management software. So you can imagine even back there, just to even manage contacts, it took large computers to do this, right? It was very expensive. Only the top companies could afford it at that time. In the early 1990s, we started talking about some Salesforce automation for teams, right? Like they started to do contacts and put them into leads that then were opportunities. Okay, so that was kind of the early genesis of it in the early 1990s, and I remember seeing some of that as we were building out some of our companies. Then in 1995, the actual CRM term was coined, so customer relationship management. And I think, I mean, everybody has their own beliefs on why that is, but you know, what they were having problems is how do we serve and encompass everybody's use so that right down to a software as a service company still needed a CRM, or, you know, somebody who's local or somebody who's a doctor or our company, you know, so that we could kind of have this overreaching term for what this is. And then this really disrupted everything, okay? 1999 is when really we all started to use the cloud. Cloud CRM became very popular. And then what I consider to be kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the CRM space, and that is Salesforce.com, okay? They disrupted everything, and you remember way back when, and you'll still see it occasionally as the red block that says no software, right? That was the big thing of being on the cloud. There's no software to install on your computer. So a lot of these large companies said, oh, and a lot of them debunked it. So they didn't go with Salesforce, but now they're a multi-billion-dollar company, okay? And they are really the largest player in this field. Then in the 2000s, everybody said, well, wait a minute. Salesforce.com is making billions of dollars, right? If we just got a little teeny piece of that, we could make a lot of millions. And so everybody started jumping into the space. And then it was social and mobile. And so the CRM, some of them that I'm going to show you, integrate some of those social aspects. And to be quite honest with you, it can be very confusing, okay? Because for a small business owner, what do you use? Your friend says, hey, use Zoho, or you got to use Salesforce, you got to use Base, or you got, whatever. Act. See, Act. So I use Act. I even had one of those little programs that would overlay Act and do some of the automation, right? So I remember Act. It was very difficult to use, okay? So now you have Zoho, HubSpot, some of these others. And I am not a paid spokesperson for HubSpot, just to tell you that up front. I am getting my certification with them, so I expect to be a certified HubSpot user here soon, or ambassador, I think is what they call it. But it's just the one that we like to have our clients use because it's the initial version of it is free, and we'll get into some of that here shortly. So let me give you some of the top 10 CRM platforms, okay? Obviously, we talked about Salesforce, Zoho, Act. So you're okay. You're still number 3. You're up there, right? HubSpot has now moved up to number 5. That is like majorly impressive, okay? This is a startup company, all right? And they've even jumped SAP, Maximizer. Infusionsoft is interesting, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Since I have a little bit of experience in one of my companies, we used Infusionsoft to do some automation. Well, but we don't know. I mean, I could, but I think it would take too long to go through everything. Sure. Absolutely. Sure. So the real basics of a CRM is you want the card that I just got, right, to give to Adam, okay? That could be a potential connector, and we haven't really talked yet about connectors, and we will in this segment, okay? Where do you put that? Like, are you snapping the picture on your phone? Are you just writing it in a spreadsheet? What are you doing with all this stuff? I mean, I've had people come to meetings with me, and they literally have a shoebox of all their business cards, and they're indexed, right? You have all these business cards. Salespeople are notorious. I have business cards going up. So even when I had a CRM, I still had tons of business cards, right? The whole concept was to have everything in one spot, right? So that you didn't have to think about it. You just dumped it into there, and then it would organize it for you. So you could move things along. And that's why if you saw back to the initial start of the history, right, is contact, lead, opportunity. As simple as that is, you want to then designate what is somebody. Are they a lead? Are they a prospect? What are they? Okay? That's really what I deem a CRM to be, is how do I determine who they are? Where do they go? And then how do I move them along in a visual sense so that I can keep my processes straight? So here is, in my job as National Sales Manager for Clean the World, we used Salesforce. And so I would literally stare at this screen for 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm not even joking, okay? This is where I live. So anybody who tells you sales is exciting and travel all over the place, and I tell them that's bunk, okay? This is where you live, is in the CRM, okay? So once you get familiar with it, I'm here to tell you, if you truly want to do sales and remember back to that hands in the dirt of actually doing it, you live in your CRM. So you would agree with me, right? Yeah. So a couple things here to look at. And again, this is the number one, and what they're trying to do, Salesforce is even trying to have better user experience and better look and feel. This is still the base of what it looks like even to today, okay? And this is a lead. You have contacts. I lived in contacts because the cool part about contacts in Salesforce is I could tie every other contact to it, right? Like if I went into contacts, it's cool because I could see, like I sold to management companies for hotels, all right? So when I would go into contacts, I could see for that hotel, okay, they're the head of housekeeping, they're the general manager, they're this, and then all their contact information is right there. So it lumped it together for me, so I only had to look at one place, and I knew who I had to contact. Opportunities is what we would put in, at least when I used it, is, okay, this opportunity would be a management agreement with the company. They have 70 hotels. This is what we charge. This is a $2 million opportunity. And I would put that into there so that the sales manager or vice president of sales could then track where are those opportunities at? What stage are they at? Because they want to know, and they're very detailed about it, how much money are we going to make? And why aren't you closing this $1 million deal, right? That's every sales manager on the planet. And that should be you as a CEO as well. And then some of these others, these are actually, if you look at this and you have familiar with Salesforce, these are actually customized, okay? And that leads me to my next thing is, you know, when you look down here, open activities, activity history, it's almost kind of blocking it, but open activities is key because the vice president of sales would go through and look at all my open activities. Bill, why do you have open activities? What's going on with this open activity? I'm just like, chill, I got it. Like, I know what's going on with it. But as fast as I could, I wanted to move my open activities to activity history. So she could see what I was doing in the activities. And what you can't see in here is, below here is tasks, okay? So you could actually set a task and have the follow-up in here. So I actually use this. I would never leave this screen, and it was actually policy in the company, without making sure that I did a next task or a follow-up. Okay, and that's one of the secrets to using a CRM is it's sort of like don't leave the scene of a decision without taking action, right? Same thing with a CRM. If you leave that sucker without doing something for a follow-up, it ain't going to get done. I'm just telling you right now. Because it's just too much. As professional salespeople, you know this. It's just, you'll get lost, right? So the little hack is always make sure you set that next task. So here's an example of Infusionsoft. And the reason why I show this is not so that I can teach you how to use Infusionsoft, okay? Infusionsoft is extremely complicated. It is a lot of money. It's typically anywhere from $300 to $500 a month with a $2,000 setup fee. My business partner spent almost $10,000 being trained on Infusionsoft. So, you know, once you get into it, then you have to figure out, okay, how do I use this sucker? Because the whole key is automation, right? So you'll see all these consultants automatically build your sales, automatically do this. You just push one button and you're done. So you have all your lead sources here, you know, Twitter, WordPress. I know it's a little blurry, sorry. It would go to a contact form. And then this is a whole series of emails that I'll show you later. So you'd go through the series, and depending if they raise their hand, they'd come down here, go to his free gift delivery, go here, go there, and then purchase, and then they go back to here and they go here. So you could actually build these out custom, okay? So when used properly, Infusionsoft is sort of like, you know how you just dropped the mother of all bombs? This is like the mother of all CRMs, okay? And then here is inside. So if you remember, this little sequence here, series delivery, this is an example of what you can build out. Start. It waits 3 minutes. It waits 30 minutes. I would send it at 12. So I got even in the weeds enough where I did the research as to when are people opening their emails. You know, my industry that I was selling to at the time opens them at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I ran it at 6 a.m. day 1 email. So this would have its own content, and it'll be all automated email. Wait 30 minutes, then run day 2. Go here, day 3, day 4, day 5, all the way through to the end of the sequence. And then depending on what actions they were taking, it would then send them into a different funnel, okay? So I say that just because this is kind of where you could end up in, but what I like to say as a consultant is you can also automate yourself out of business. And we're going to talk about that later in the email sequence. Here is Pipedrive. It's a Silicon Valley company, so I actually met a couple of the founders of Pipedrive when I was out there, and they're well-funded, and their whole thing is they want it to just be very visual. So if you're a visual person, you like to see that pipe drive or the pipeline, right, going across, and this is a good one where it's just deal flow and you just move it along and you put them along the way. Here's an example of HubSpot, okay? HubSpot to sign up for their sales is free. Sales Pro is like $50 a month. It's pretty cheap. And what I like about it, we use it for ourselves, and most of all of our clients use HubSpot. A couple use some different, is that you simply just move the tiles along our process. So we have our own process up here: 15-minute intro, discovery meeting, proposal, closed won, closed lost, icebox. So we're able to customize our HubSpot to show along and make sure that it fits our sales process.
The nice thing about having that is that's what we turn to once a week or every other week, and we can look and see, oh, yeah, we haven't touched this person in a while. Or if it's in the icebox, boy, let's just touch base. Let's send them a blog post. Let's send something so we can keep engaged with them. Or if we've gotten leads, we can actually look back and say, oh, you know what? This one still hasn't responded. Let's try touching them again. So it becomes that dashboard for you to analyze everything. Thank you.
So this is still HubSpot. This is really cool stuff, okay? And this is that Sales Pro version, so you do have to upgrade and pay more. And again, I am not a paid spokesperson for this. I don't get a dime. But they have some dialing right from the CRM. And what I love about how it's set up is, for me, Salesforce was a little, how do I say, antiseptic, right? It was a little like doctor's office, walk in, everything's just like, clean. This is a little bit more warm for me, right? Like I feel like it's like, what's cool is you put the person's email in, it actually sees the extension of the email and you can't see it down here, but it'll automatically, predictively put in all their company information that they scrape from the internet with one touch. I just put their email in, all in, picture from social media, boom, it's in there. I didn't do a thing. It's just in. And then what's awesome is, and I'll show you the email integration, I do everything from one spot. Notes, emails, call, activities, and then over here you can't see his tasks. So everything's in one place for me. I just go dun, 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 and then it's all labeled. It's all listed for me down here. All the email interactions. Okay, so it's very, 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 very simple. And then up here you can even customize this, which we don't do a whole lot of. It's pretty good the way it is for us. When you click on this email button, you can email within the CRM. And so what it does is it actually has email integrations, which is amazing. So I got to Clean the World, and what they were doing is they were cutting and pasting each email into the CRM. And I said, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. I told the IT person, I said, you better find a Outlook integration real fast, or else I'm out of here. I ain't going to last long. I got too much stuff to do. He's like, all right. Within a week, I had an Outlook integration into Salesforce, okay, where all I had to do was just type in the person, hit a button, and it tied all the emails in. Because that's the number one thing for a CRM. That gets maybe to your question, George. Now that I'm going through it, I have a better idea how I use it. Is it tracks all my contacts with my person. Because how important is that for that task force that I go back to, that if I were to, and I'm gone, Adam could come in and see every contact. To go back to this, he can see every contact that I've had with that person, down to phone calls, notes, everything. You can just reestablish, hey, I saw, Bill's no longer with the company, but I'm the new national sales manager, and so I just wanted to reach back. I saw that you were interested in this, and you guys talked back on December 2016. How valuable is that? You just now re-upped them, and now you put them back in their process. Yeah, you'll get, yeah. So here's how cool it is. One touch, Gmail. I use business Gmail, which is another little hack for everybody if you're a small business owner, right? Gmail is the best email thing on the planet. And again, I'm not paid by Gmail, but use business Gmail so that it's bill@excelergy.co versus billmcneil@gmail.com. Okay, it's just a quick way to look pro versus not pro, right?
$5 a month.
$5 a month. It's easy. It's great. Business Google Apps, right? Or just Google, right? Business Gmail. Here's the awesome sauce of HubSpot. Okay, this is the secret right here. So I apologize ahead of time to anybody who might become a prospect of ours after this, because we are stalking you, okay, legally. All right. So here's the Intel person, Navy Intel person, right? So here's Todd. Have opened. Reminder: Notre Dame men's basketball game this Tuesday. So if I send you, and remember my process of sending the proposal agreement, guess what? I know if you opened it because I use HubSpot. And I've integrated my emails. They put a little pixel in the email to where it tags, and I know the second you open it. I not only know that, I know how much time you spent looking at it. Then I can add the attachment through HubSpot, and I again know if you open my attachment. Because if you just open my email, you don't actually open the attachment, you're not that into me. Right? Like, you're just not. But if I know if they open the attachment, they looked at it, and then what happens is, right, they open it again and again and again and again, and then I know they're pretty into us, right? That's pretty cool. I know this. And now what will happen even in Icebox, and we had this happen, is somebody will put an Icebox, and we had sent them a proposal 2 months ago. All of a sudden, it's like, they opened my proposal, and it's 2 months later. Well, guess what I do? Hey, Dave, I was just thinking about you, man. What's going on? It's so weird. I was just like, crazy, man.
Weird.
I'm like, I know, right? It's like, awesome. We need to do business. She goes, yeah, we do. Let's meet on Monday. I'm like, I get chills just thinking about it. That was awesome, right? Yes, I got to learn on my phone.
So, I've got like all these orange ones, are the HubSpots that like who's viewed it.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Like Mailchimp is integrated into this.
You can. I think they have
You can integrate Mailchimp.
Look at this. They have a bunch of APIs. So they have a bunch of integrations and everything. I mean, it's crazy, right? That little piece, and that was actually one of my startups, is the startup that I sold to lawyers is you could send a fee agreement and invoice in less than 30 seconds. And the way I used it to close all my legal cases is that it would send them and I could see if they viewed the invoice. I could see if they viewed the fee agreement. That was some business intelligence, and I used that like crazy. Like, oh, I see you viewed my contract, but you didn't sign it. Oh, yeah, man. And then I'll use text messages because they're all knucklehead kids, right? I'd text message them instead of call them because they won't actually talk to you. So this is so cool, and this has been kind of a real eye-opener. It's called Sidekick. I don't know if it's called Sidekick anymore, but it is free too, so we do not pay for this. Any questions? We're changing over from CRM, so we went through it a little bit quicker. How are we doing on time?
18 minutes.
18 minutes? Okay. Any questions on CRM?
I'm sorry, what's it stand for again?
Customer Relations Management. Relationship Management, sorry. So, email and telephone best practices. Let me just start off by saying that because we email everybody, right? And I've seen it all in sales, okay? I've seen lawyers, I've seen professional salespeople. I've had to send emails to senior vice presidents of operations of large companies, CEOs, all the way down to the housekeeping manager I'm emailing, okay? The one thing I'll say, overreaching of all emails, is you have to adapt, right? You have to know who you're emailing so that you can kind of be a chameleon with your emails, right? So here's a good example of subject lines. And we probably won't have time for we were going to do a thing about, hey, come up with some subject lines. I just want to go through these pretty quickly and tell you there are companies that's all they do is analyze subject lines of emails. I guarantee you, okay? It's called KISS metrics and others. They will actually split test and A/B test psychologically what opens what. So imagine you're just using the same subject line and you have for 10 years and you wonder why you're in the friend zone for 5 years. Well, probably your subject lines might suck, right? Or even that, you don't know that they're even getting opened. But I do. I know if my stuff's getting opened, right? So here's a couple from research. Hope all is well. What that does is that personalizes. It's not all about you, right? I use this all the time. Hey, I hope your family is well. I'm not doing it from a slimy salesperson. I truly hope their family's doing well, but it takes it off of me and puts the emphasis back on them. Some sort of personal tidbit. We had our thing go, that's all right. Some personal tidbit. You've gotten to know them. You've gone through the system. Like we just met with the people this morning, and I know about their kids, and I know what their activities are, and they told us everything. I know about the doctor client that we have. I know about her kids and what they're interested in. So, hey, how's Johnny do at the baseball game? Put that in the subject line. Danny's baseball game. I'm sure as heck going to open that more following up, ... Right? How many of us do that? Following up with you, dude. I mean, they get 1 million follow-ups. They're not going to open it. Quick question. Everybody, I used to do that with juries, right? Juries have the mentality about kindergartners, okay? And anytime I could get a video or, hey, let me ask you a question or anything that would pique their interest, I would get them thinking about it. They're going to maybe open that up. Somebody referred me to you. This goes back to we did not talk a lot about connectors, okay? In our pipeline, and I wish I could show it to you, but this is going out to everybody, so we couldn't put our actual CRM in the slides. But we have a separate deal flow for connectors to the point where we even map out and heat map what connectors lead to who. So bankers, CPAs, financial people are all good connectors for us because they know their businesses. They know that they don't have financials. They know that they're screwed up in sales. They don't have process. They're connectors, right? So-and-so referred me to you. Use that power in your subject line. Contacting you at referral suggestion. Again, you've already gotten a trust stack there, right? They're going to more likely to open the email if you drop somebody's name. This is more for cold emails. You are not alone. It kind of, you're not the only one with these problems. So if we don't need it yet, but if we were to start having people do cold emails to business owners, we would probably use this. Listen, man, you are not alone as a business owner. There are $5 million in revenue companies that don't have sales process. Don't feel bad about it. There's $5 million in revenue companies that don't have financial forecasting. But imagine if your small business did it. You'd be right on par with them. Good morning, so-and-so. I looked up the research on this, and it said, and I've been married 10 years, and the couples that say good morning have like an exponentially higher rate of having successful relationships. So just say, hey, good morning, so-and-so. Right? He taught him something. Yeah, you're just getting into you better take, I'm on number 2, so yeah. So-and-so, we can help you, and then we put in increased sales. That'd be something that we could do if we were doing cold emails, right? Like, what do you do? We can help you see the doctor faster, right? We can eliminate lines or something like that. This is cool. Just put the referral name. So Bob Smith, just put Bob Smith. I had a couple people do this to me, and I opened it because I knew the person. So last thing I want to do is Bob sees me at the network event, goes, hey, I told somebody they should email. I'm like, I didn't email them back. That hurts my relationship with Bob Smith, doesn't it? So I just put Bob Smith. This is cool too, is possible meeting blank time. So put it, and this is something that we do in our emails. If for some reason we try everything we can, remember the 15-minute discovery, every attempt is to book that right then. Sometimes it's just not physically possible. So when we do that, or we're trying to book that initial 15-minute intro, we always put times, don't we? Right, Adam? Always, even if it's just complete BS. Like, we can meet Tuesday after 3 and Thursday in the morning. Give them the times, because how many times have you guys said, well, just give me some dates and some times? Never happens. Okay? Always be more specific about the times. And this is cool. I like this. I put this is hilarious. Just be like crazy sometimes. Just tell them straight up, listen, man, this is a sales email, right? Like, they're going to laugh, right? They're going to be like, what is this? Like, this guy's being honest with you. This is a sales email, right? So here's where you can get in trouble with automation. And this is one of our clients, okay? So our client does promotional products. Wow, so does this guy, right? So he gets an automated email, right? And it says, hey, we do this. And I wouldn't be so persistent if I wasn't confident an intro convo, I don't even know what convo is supposed to be, but would be worthwhile to you or your company. Companies like this, blah, blah, blah. If you would just send back a quick yes or no, maybe, and whether you, that reminded me of like 6th grade. Do you like me? Check the box, yes or no. Right? This is the worst email ever. This person, put down, we need to contact this person. I don't know who this person is, but they need to.
And our client reached out like 2 or 3 times. Listen,
oh, yeah, this is good.
I'm in the same space that you are. Like, stop reaching out, but because they didn't do anything, it kept automating those emails.
He kept getting this even though he wrote back, listen, I do the same thing you do. But because it's automated, there's no personalization to it, just kept running, right? Didn't move the tag or whatever you have to do to say click, don't be in that funnel. Okay. So Down Syndrome Association, right? This is what they sent to their donors. This is the first time I saw this morning, to be honest. We just put this in this morning. That is crazy. I'm not going to look at it. And you know what's funny is that this is exactly what Clean the World's emails looked like when I got there. Clean the World's emails were even worse. They then put images of all the boxes of soap that we were recycling in here. Like there were 7 images across. So nothing ever got opened in email because of HTML and images, the display images, right? So this is just way too long. I'm never going to read it.
That's only half the email.
There's more. This is what they said to send. This is the other half of the email. They said, well, here's what you should send to prospect. This one's still too long. So what I did at Clean the World, and I don't have an example of a short one, but let me just quick tell you. These are senior VPs. I'm not even joking. This is my email. Bob, and I always use first name. Even if I didn't know Bob. I'm the new national sales manager at Clean the World. I see that one of your companies is already using us for their recycling program, period. Would love to talk to you about possibly getting a management agreement with you so we can lower all your prices. Thanks. Bye. That's it. Because what magically happened is, guess what Bob's doing at 10:30 at night? Propped up in the Craftmatic bed, right, watching CSI or whatever, and he's scrolling through emails. So my email is super short, had a cool subject line, right? Hey, Bill, would love to talk. And I get it at 10:30 at night. I'm like, Bob, sweet. Let's set a telephone call for tomorrow. Okay, here's a calendar invite. Done. Boom. And I go in the office, and they're like, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I got a meeting with Bob. He's senior VP of this management. They're like, you're crazy. I go, you want to see it? Here's his email. I'm like, you're crazy. I'm like, all right. When I close this $1 million deal, then you can talk. Because they're looking at it on mobile, right? So be careful about too long. Remember your prospects probably on their phone, right? Keep it super short, bulleted paragraphs. Here's some common mistakes. We got how much time?
Only 8 minutes.
Okay, we'll get through it. Let me go through these quick. Okay? So don't ever apologize. It's just rookie. You're not bothering them. Okay? You have a service that they need, not the other way around. You have to be the one. You need me more than I need you. Right? Even though at the time you're thinking, I got to pay my bills, I got to make my commission. Oh my God, I really need you to pay this bill. Okay? You can never, ever, ever show them that fear because prospects are like bees and dogs. They smell it. The minute you walk in, if you're fearful and you're really needy and I really need you, they smell it and they'll never go with you. Whoops, sorry. I know you're busy, but that's just BS. Everybody's busy. Don't ever say that. Okay? Take back control, and they're going to book with you. Again, think with mobile phones in mind. Paragraph frequently. Use bullets. Everybody loves to use bullets. Bullet. We do this. Nobody ever reads it. I saw somebody's proposal the other day, one of our friends. I said, oh my God, you have like 30 bullets in your proposal. Nobody's ever going to read it, first of all. And second of all, they're not going to even know what the heck you do. And then use first name. I talked about that. Research. It seems intuitive, but nobody does it. They just call. They don't know anything about the company. And then the guy's like, dude, I haven't done that in like 10 years. Oh, sorry. Well, you would have known that if you just popped into their website, looked at contact. The other thing I would do is look at who are my leadership team? Who are they? Research them. Go to their Facebook. Go to their LinkedIn. Know everything about them before I would call. And that goes back to the subject lines. I might be able to put a tidbit in the email about that. And then, of course, no tracking of opens is huge. So we're running out of time, but signature line do's and don'ts. You might think it's not important, but it is. Don't ever send from iPhone. Please. It's a masking game. You're always in the office. Even if it's 10:30 at night, my signature line is William McNeil, National Sales Manager, Clean the World, Badass. Right? Like, I'm it. I'm emailing you from my office at 10:30, dude.
Don't put out of office either.
No, never. I don't use out of office replies. Ever. I'm always in the office. Okay? Avoid using large images and logos. See how many people, they have that thing in their huge logo and it never loads. It doesn't make you look pro. Just keep it simple. Keep it with a link to your website. I would use the same signature across your organization. So there are big companies. They'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars just to get their signature line across the board the same. If they're spending money on it, it's probably important. It is important, your signature line. You can announce new products. You can even do links and then track them in that signature line. You can do a quick, here, check out my video, and it's just a little link, and you can actually track and see how many people went to it. And as I said, they spend a lot of money on this. You should too. So this was going to be a exercise, but just think about your prospects, okay? Begin with the end in mind, meaning, okay, you have a lawyer, right? That's your prospect. You have to think what's going to get them to open something up, right? It's got to be something that'll get their attention for a lawyer, right, instead of somebody else. Here's a couple telephone sales secrets. So when you're on the phone, you can close deals right on the phone, right? I did it as a lawyer all the time. Most people don't listen. They never establish. So I would immediately establish my authority as an attorney. Well, what judge are you in front of? And I would listen. Well, I know that judge. I know this process. I know the person there, and this is how it works. So that was establishing authority very quickly. And then setting the next meeting, again, what we already talked to you about, have the phone right there. Have your calendar. Hey, is your calendar open? Hey, it is, because everybody has it on the phone. Set that next meeting. And again, here's what most people do on that phone call. So they finally get their prospect on the phone. Oh my God, this is awesome. We just had one yesterday. It's a huge real estate person. Guy's been trying for 5 years. Well, I get him on the phone, and instead of asking for marriage on the first day, I'm like, hey, Nick, just want to get to know you. That's all this is. So I just want to see if you have any interest in this. Yep, okay. What we do is we're going to set it 45 minutes. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's cool. All right, come by my You've been trying 5 years to get that appointment. Could be worth $40,000, $50,000 in sales. Do we want to do math, please?
Yeah, just real quick.
Okay.
We're finishing up here.
He told me I'd have 20 minutes. I'm just kidding. So how do we tie all this together, right? So we've now gone through that process. We've got some tips and tricks for you to start working on some of those emails. How do we turn things more into that math equation? And so first thing, and this is the side that comes into play more for me, is that financial forecasting piece. And I'll tell you how that ties into the math equation in a second. But really, regardless of what stage your business is in, you got to forecast and think about your financials. And that's not accounting. Accounting is looking backward or giving you a snapshot right now, but it's looking forward. And when you start a business, you write that business plan, you typically will do those financial projections. Problem is you stop then most often. You don't keep updating. You don't keep looking at those things once a month. And the problem with that is, one, you're gaining data. You're gaining analysis about your business. You're starting to see and learn those trends. And with that, you can then make strategic business decisions. After you write that initial business plan, you don't have time to go back and update your business plan. It doesn't make sense. But if you're doing your financials, if you need to make a decision, you can do that. We talked about pricing, right? Pricing analysis, looking at subscriptions. How do we can make that decision? If you need to hire more employees, you can do that. If you need to expand and do a new building. So you can make all that from that. The other thing then is doing that math equation. And with one of the doctors that we work with, we actually went back and tracked all of her sales from before. And it was a struggle because she's like, I don't want to do this. Like, let's just go for it. I'm like, no. If we go and do everything from your past, it then shows us statistically what's going on and allowed us to create her equation. So what do I mean by a math equation? So anyone heard 1031 at all? So I worked for a couple of years in I interned with Northwestern Mutual. My brother spent 2 years working for them, and they came up with 1031. One of their salespeople over 40 years tracked his progress, and it's played out not just for him, but also played out for almost every employee that's gone on and been successful. And what that means is for every 10 times that someone answers the phone when they call, 3 of those people will agree to meet, and 1 will become a client. So that is their sales math equation. So what key metrics can you put in place to get that equation for you and your business? And looking at it a different way. So one of our friends who actually worked with Northwestern Mutual as well for a while, he told us the story after we struck a nerve with this because he goes, my leader at the time, I made $1,000. I was in college, I made $1,000. And he goes, how do you feel about that? He's like, man, I feel awesome. He's like, I made $1,000. He's like, no. Here's the way I look at that. I look at it as every time you pick up the phone, you make $100. Because every time, 10 times you pick up the phone, you know you're going to get to that equation. So how do you turn that for you into that equation? And what does that mean really? So this is a really crude example, but if you have a 33% close rate and your goal is to get 3 new clients a month, you know you need 3 clients a month. Or 3 leads to get 1 client, you know you're going to need 9 leads a month. So then you can start tracking those things week by week, right? So that becomes 2 to 3 leads a week is what you need. When you break things down, it makes things so easier. And remember when I said earlier about that process and the athletes when they're going in? Now you know you have that confidence. If you just stick to those metrics, you know you're going to hit your sales. They're going to play out over time. So you can think about your equation going forward. So that's it for us. Bill did all the work, but
So just a little bit on sales math